while the state and federal investigators are combing through this crime scene even as we speak. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Bob Evans. We are live here at UVU, and during the baseball game over on Fox 13, we thought it would be a good idea for us to keep you posted on where they are in this investigation and the very latest. As you very well know, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed just a few hundred feet behind me yesterday. It has placed a pall not just on this campus, not just down here in Orem, but across all of Utah and across the United States as well. And you've been seeing it on your feeds. You have been seeing it just about everywhere. And so we're going to keep you updated on the new information that we've got. In fact, there's plenty of new information to share with you right now. As you recall, the investigation into this tragic murder has been going on since the very shot was fired. And that investigation has been intense. It's been going around the clock. We've been waiting for a news conference from the Department of Public Safety and the FBI, but we don't know whether that is actually going to take place. We do understand that Kash Patel, the director of the FBI, is here, but we don't know if we will actually hear from them. Let's bring you up to date on the investigation with Fox 13, Scott McCain. Scott, you've been down here, you've been following this, and what have you learned today?
Not a whole lot, unfortunately. It's been a day filled stops and starts, and a lot of speculation, some rumors. There was supposed to be a press conference scheduled for 12:45 this afternoon. That got canceled, postponed. We told there were rapidly developing developments, and that's about the last we heard. The last real solid bit of information came from a photograph, and you can imagine once all this went into motion yesterday, these investigators spending all day yesterday, probably into the wee hours of the morning, going through every frame of video here on the campus, and they said they had some pretty good images of someone they wanted to talk to. Initially held off on that, but then released a couple of photos of a younger white male in the stairwell, apparently of the building where the fatal shot was fired from. They very much want to locate this person, kind of debrief them, see who they are, what, if anything, they know, how, if in any way, they were involved. But in the meantime, back to earlier this morning, the Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bo Mason basically, even at that point, still now fairly early on into this, really wanting to recognize the efforts of those who basically have not gotten any sleep since that fatal shot was fired.
Yeah. I remember when I woke up this morning, I mean, the very first thing I did was check on the status of this investigation. Was surprised to see how much information they had gathered overnight. I mean, the security cameras and being able to track this person.
Everything's on video now. So now that it becomes the painstaking, kind of laborious and tedious process of just going through all of that. They did, clearly, and then came up with that image that they've released. But that's about the last bit of real solid information we've had ever since then. It sounds as though, again, the director of the FBI is here. We're told that he is likely, if not now, at some point is going to get his own personal tour of what is, again, a massive crime scene. And then at that point, they are going to reassess both the state and the feds, and then determine whether or not they do want to do some kind of a press update this evening. At some point, they will do something. And the other thing we're waiting for, you know, the big question, the big unknown, is who is this individual and when will they get him in custody? And so at least it's, you know, again, not officially a suspect, but definitely a person of interest. And when that happens, obviously that will be a big development.
Yeah, another big development is that the FBI is offering a reward for information and getting this person into their hands so they can talk to them.
Yeah, up to $100,000, and you know they really want to try to generate. They know that they can use the media, social media, us in the over-the-air broadcast media to push this image out there. And they, you know, having covered cops and crime for so many years, that the smallest bit of information can wind up being a huge lead, a huge detail. They mentioned they had some other possible leads in terms of a possible forearm print, maybe a palm print. They have what they believe is the murder weapon recovered not far from here. They think they have charted the path of this individual from leaving the campus into that neighborhood. And we'll get to that more with Julia Sandor here in a minute, but they were going door to door throughout the day today, trying to get additional video, doorbell, ring cam video, anything of that nature to try to help propel this along.
Yeah, a virtual army of law enforcement and investigators here, everybody doing their individual areas of expertise, and it gives you confidence that now that they know what he looks like, and now that they have some solid leads, that it's only a matter of time before they take him into custody.
In this day and age, the old saying, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, kind of rings true. The guess and of everyone supposes, now that these images are out there, and through facial recognition and all these things, some of which we probably don't even know about, they mentioned they are pursuing all of that in this investigation, and it seems like it's just a matter of time.
All right, Scott, thank you so much. You know, one of the big issues here on campus has been the security. We do know that, as a matter of fact, there were only 6 UVU police officers on duty at this gathering yesterday, at this big event. And Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle has been looking into that. Nate, you're joining me from the FBI headquarters, or Salt Lake City headquarters at any rate, and shed some light on what we are learning about security at this event.
Well, Bob, we spoke with a former Utah Valley University police officer. Brian Cunningham worked on the campus until 2018. He's had a lot of friends work on that campus over the years. He says police never should have allowed a rifleman on that roof. When he was a police officer, Brian Cunningham was on a SWAT team and trained police and civilians on how to prevent a shooter.
The high ground. I mean, there should have been planning. There should have been other police departments involved. This is a high-profile individual. He was a supporter of Trump. He was in his campaign.
A UVU spokesman said police discussed security with Kirk's team before the event, and there were no credible threats. Despite that, Cunningham says there should have been additional security. He's not alone. This is what former FBI agent Greg Rogers told Fox 13's Good Day Utah.
If drones were up and he'd have been spotted on the roof, so that was a security failure. It can't be defended.
Fox 13 spoke to a current peace officer working in the Orem area. That officer declined to go on camera for fear of retaliation, but he corroborated what Cunningham told us. He also corroborated what Utah Valley University has said. It had 6 police officers on duty during Kirk's rally. The campus reported having 23 officers in 2024, and at least some of those didn't even know Kirk was coming to UVU, that officer said.
On UVU, there is way too many access points to the high ground of that amphitheater, and there's no way that they should have let that high ground be taken over.
Cunningham said security was better at the 2017 Love Loud concert featuring Imagine Dragons, held at UVU's baseball stadium.
We actually had a command center set up. We had Utah County Sheriffs help us out. SWAT team was there. We had Orem City Police Department there with medical, emergency management trailer set up.
Cunningham and the other officer said one obstacle to better security at UVU has been Val Peterson, the university's vice president of administration and a member of the Utah House of Representatives.
We begged when I was there. This is going to be an active shooter situation, nightmare if you don't give us more officers, give us more resources, and help us put together a plan. And it just was not done. We asked Val, and his comment to me was, and every other officer in that department that day, it's been 25 years, we haven't had one, and we're not going to have one. And I looked him in the face and I said, it's not if, it's when. They dropped the ball on this one. And Charlie Kirk lost his life because of this.
Now, we did ask Utah Valley University spokesman about conversations with Peterson over the years about security, and we did not receive a response. in Salt Lake City, Nate Carlisle, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Nate, before we let you go, stand by just for a second, because I want to talk about it. It's a mindset down here in Utah Valley, in Utah County, a mindset that it can't happen here. And yesterday we were talking about the irony of having this kind of political violence take place in probably, arguably, the most conservative spot in the country. And so talk to us about how that mindset plays into the security issues.
Well, there's always a discussion of resource allocation, right? So I'm sure part of the analysis was, what's the likelihood of a threat? And the campuses said there was a threat assessment and there wasn't determined to be any credible threats. So then the question probably becomes, well, how many police officers do we really want to dedicate to this when we don't know of a credible threat? And as you said, Bob, this is a very conservative area. It had a lot of people friendly to Charlie Kirk. And so they apparently decided 6 police officers was all they needed on campus that day. And let's be clear, we're not just talking about 6 officers at the Kirk event. There was supposed to be 6 officers on the whole campus.
So then that leaves us with the question then, Nate, what happens going forward? Have you got any sense of what's being done to change the way security is approached? Not just here on the campus, but overall at events like this.
Well, Bob, I think you and I know from some of the other violence we've covered here in Utah over the years that, one event tends to change a lot of future events. So, yeah, I'm sure there will be increased security at Utah Valley University for events there over the years. I'm confident all the other campuses in Utah are going to look at that too. I mean, it's fall, so we're going to have football games at the U of U, BYU, USU. I'm sure they're all thinking about security now, and other sporting and other events of all sorts at all the campuses. I'll bet there'll be a new assessment of the security needs.
Yeah, well, and as a matter of fact, security has been stepped up, not just here at UVU, but at BYU, at the University of Utah, at Weber State, at USU, where Charlie Kirk was scheduled to speak later this month. And so, yeah, the whole issue of security is is going under the microscope now, I think it's safe to say. So, Nate, thank you so much for your insights and for your investigative piece on the security here at UVU. Now, we mentioned a few moments ago the picture that we mentioned a few moments ago the picture of the person of interest that the Utah Department of Public Safety wants to get a hold of and find. The FBI actually released this picture earlier today, identified as the person of interest in connection with that fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk here at UVU. The FBI, as we mentioned also with Scott McCain, is offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to the ID and arrest of this person of interest. And so if you do happen to recognize this person, get a pencil real quickly and jot this down, or if you got a good memory, you can just remember 1-800-CALL-FBI. 1-800-CALL-FBI, or you can just simply scan the QR code that is on your screen right now, and that will give you all the information you need to get a hold of the FBI. Again, it is very important that they get a hold of this person of interest. They have tracked him, as Scott said, they tracked him onto and off the campus yesterday through video and through surveillance, and as a matter of fact, he wound up going into the neighborhood. He wound up going into the neighborhood just north of campus here. And Fox 13 reporter Julia Sandor has been looking into that. I tell you what, Julia, to be a resident of this neighborhood yesterday must have been just heart-stopping.
Yeah, that was a lot of what I heard. A lot of shock and fear. Just they were put into lockdown as well. They described, officers, FBI agents, people coming through their front and backyard, and they've never seen anything like that. And then again, this morning, a lot of those people again said They were right back out there. A lot of them didn't even leave last night. They were in the front yard checking cameras. A lot of people were trying to help and take those cameras off for the officers, but they actually want people to wait if they're going to take any of your video so that they're able to make sure that video is secure and they can look through it themselves. So it was a lot going on out there, and I'm sure when you were here yesterday you saw a lot happening here on campus. But I mean, being in those neighborhoods, it was definitely impactful for them, and it's definitely something that now is ingrained in their memories. But I spoke to some people earlier, and we could kind of show you that emotion that they had right here.
So it is scary to think of that this person came so close to us and to our neighbors.
The neighborhood just behind Utah Valley University is described as a generally quiet area, but Wednesday afternoon was anything but quiet.
The police were on this, and they were canvassing all afternoon into the evening. The local police, and I believe it was FBI also that was coming around, they were on it.
Kathy Beckel led us to her backyard. She says police searched this area for the suspected gunman and his weapon. Just a few streets over, Erwin Steele was another neighbor who was met with officers in his front yard.
It was scary. I know it's been said many times, but this is a safe place. This is a calm place. We're right next to, the largest university in the state, but at the same time, they're generally good people.
Steele says they're helping authorities by giving them any footage they have on their outdoor cameras, but he says it's still startling to know the gunman could have been so close to their homes.
We have students going up and down the street all day long, and it's never been a threat to our safety. And so for something like this to happen it's shocking. It's really shocking.
It's disturbing because you don't know if the person is still around. And this is a quiet neighborhood. It's a very quiet, very nice neighborhood. And so it's disturbing to have something like that come up. But I mean, something could happen anywhere.
Did they ever have a shelter-in-place order that went out?
Neighbors told me that they did, and they were
reverse 911
They
call?
were kind of told to stay indoors, and they also had officers coming around and knocking and trying to make sure that they were able to go into their yards. So they were getting that permission, making sure they were able to check all these places. And one of the neighbors actually told me that she was trying to get officers to check downstairs in their basement to make sure, just because nobody was in there. They want to make sure that things were secure and safe. So that was kind of a lot of what we were hearing.
And I would imagine, too, the police are asking them to save any security video that may have been recorded.
Yeah, that's correct. And it was a bunch of streets, really, that whole neighborhood that's behind UVU's campus right there, that they were going around door knocking, canvassing the neighborhoods, and asking for if they have any video. But again, they didn't want anybody to tamper with that video, so just give it straight to, officers.
Yeah. You think about the neighborhoods around a university campus. Usually the biggest issue you have to deal with is parking,
Exactly.
Right?
Students being loud sometimes.
Yeah,
that's
or
a lot.
Football games,
Exactly.
things like that. But
not this.
Not this.
Yes.
Not this, and not here. So, all right. Well, Julia, thank you for checking with those folks. Did you find anybody that was overly distraught over what happened?
I think it was the emotions have come down after overnight hours, but again, I think it's just going to stick with people for a while, just because it happened so close to home.
All right. Julia, thank you so much. As Governor Cox characterized this tragedy, he called it a political assassination, and in fact, that's what it was. It couldn't be anything other than that. It has caused a tremendous amount of reaction in the political world. Yesterday, there was a moment of silence that took place in Congress, a good 30, 40 seconds of silent prayer. And then there was shouting. After the moment of silence, there was shouting on the floor of Congress as Democrats and Republicans were at it once again. And you have to ask yourself, what will bring us political peace? The turmoil is only seeming to increase, and so we sent Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow to check on the turmoil, the political turmoil that this shooting has caused.
In the aftermath of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, There's been a lot of talk about political discourse, rhetoric, vitriol, and violence, with elected leaders on both sides of the aisle here calling for a de-escalation.
I hope I have the correct number.
Hours after conservative political influencer Charlie Kirk was killed at Utah Valley University, House Democrats received this voicemail.
You should leave the state. You should find somewhere else to live, you murderous terrorist animals, you despicable subhuman, violent, disgusting animals. You murdered that man in front of his family, you evil pieces of subhuman garbage.
We don't know who the shooter was. We don't know what their intent was. Somebody was murdered, someone was executed, and we all agree that that was wrong.
House Minority Leader Angela Romero says she's seen political vitriol increase in recent years.
I think it's escalated, but I think we can tone it down if we all work together. But that means we all have to work together, and I don't know if everyone's willing to do that.
Political violence should never happen. Any type of violence should never happen. And the fact that it's continuing to happen, the Minnesota shootings that happened a couple months ago, a few months ago, and now this, and we can do better.
The House Speaker shares that view.
And I hope that it starts to tone down some of the rhetoric that's out there, some of the hateful things that are being said on all sides, and that we're able to come together.
Maury Giles heads Braver Angels, a group that tries to encourage healthy debate. They worked with Governor Spencer Cox on his Disagree Better initiative.
We get into this notion of feeling like there's a culture war that I have to fight for. The problem is that in doing that, and with the tools we have of social media, we dehumanize each other.
Giles says he hopes this is a wake-up call for everyone.
We have to be able to choose to do in this moment right now today is how am I going to respond? Am I going to cascade to the corner of my tribe for fear of not being loyal to that tribe or not doing what I need to do to not be alienated by them? Or am I going to step up and say, hold on a second, vigorous debate is a hallmark of the American experiment, but with contempt is not the way.
The Utah Department of Public Safety says it does investigate threats and provides security for elected officials. The Speaker says they will also be reviewing that in the days to come. At the United States Capitol, there's also talk about increasing security for elected officials when they return to their home states.
I wouldn't be truthful if I said this didn't give me pause. Right? I've been in very vulnerable situations, and I've always said to myself, oh, it's Utah. I don't need to worry.
On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
So the turmoil continues. Earlier in our chat here on Fox 13 digital streaming channels, we talked about J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, coming here to Utah to take the body of Charlie Kirk back to his home in Arizona. Fox 13 News reporter Maithili Gubi has been at the airport waiting for the Vice President to come, and indeed he did. Maithili, tell us about that visit and tell us about that experience.
Absolutely, Bob. So we're here at the Salt Lake City International Airport, but on the Air National Guard side, and it was over there that Air Force 2 landed earlier today. It was around 2:30 p.m. That was when Vice President J.D. Vance landed here to meet Charlie Kirk's friends, family, and of course see the casket as well, and take the casket on board Air Force 2 to Arizona. So we did see J.D. Vance's plane land, and after that, we didn't see them come off the National Guard base. We were stationed on the other side to see if they would leave the area at all. They didn't the whole time. They were inside. About 2 hours or so later was when we started to see UHP motorcycles leave the area. We saw a couple of different police agencies from Lehigh City to Salt Lake City leave at that point as well. So we do believe they were inside, kind of in this secure area the whole time. There was a lot of security as well. We saw increased police presence all across on 2200 West in front of the airport. There were a lot of helicopters circling the whole time. That was one of the biggest things we saw, multiple helicopters circling the whole time. But again, all kind of security for the people that were coming by, because there were people that were coming by as well to kind of see what was going on, but also for the vice president and for everyone else that was here. So we believe that it was a meeting that they were able to have inside the area, and they loaded the casket onto Air Force 2, and the vice president took the casket of Charlie Kirk back to their home in Arizona. So wasn't too much out here, but that's from our understanding what happened out here, Bob.
That event that you are talking about, describing kind of as we listened to the sounds of the airport going on. Flights continued, by the way, without interruption, even though the vice president was here in Salt Lake. But Maithili, I don't know if you're still with me or not, but the taking of Charlie Kirk's body on Air Force 2 kind of wrapped up a certain part of this tragic story, and was kind of a bookend for his arrival and then departure from Utah, don't you think?
Absolutely, Bob. I mean, wanting to start his tour here in Utah, Charlie Kirk had come to Orem at UVU, his first stop, and kind of going on a plane back home after this tragedy for himself, for his family, and kind of seeing where this journey continues back at their home in Arizona.
All right, Maithili, thank you so much. I know it's been a long day for you waiting for the vice president to come, but thank you for staying with us, and I know our digital audience appreciates your reporting as well. Before we go, I want to bring up one thing that that kind of strikes me, and perhaps it may have occurred to you as well. Utah Valley University, even though it is, with its 40,000 student population, the largest university in Utah, most of the world has been unaware of this college, of this university, of this school. They are very much aware of it now. And going forward, people are going to associate the name UVU with the death of Charlie Kirk, even though this is an incredible institution of higher learning. There is so much good going on here. We had Fox 13 News reporter Avery Klenowski take a look at what the effect this event is going to have on the image of UVU going forward.
It's the type of place that a lot of people want to be able to call home.
Orem, Utah.
You can expect people to be your neighbor. It is a place full of kind people, full of empathetic people.
About 45 miles south of Salt Lake City. Home of the Utah Valley University Wolverines.
We have 47,000 students here. It's now the largest student population university in our state, so it's grown very rapidly.
Hannah Ashley graduated from UVU in 2023. She says Wednesday's shooting was horrible and remembers the university as her safe place.
UVU is this place that cares about its students. It cares about our success.
Worried about the university's reputation and the people in the area.
This is not a reflection of who we are. We need to rise above this. It is a safe place, and one person doing one horrible thing doesn't change that. It's still a good place. It's still a good place with good people.
Gary Herbert, former governor of Utah, who now leads the Herbert Institute at the UVU, couldn't agree more.
It's certainly not what Utah Valley University is about, certainly not what the Utah community is about. We have a lone shooter that's made a political decision to assassinate somebody, and that's an evil person.
He's hoping people can still see the good.
We're going to continue on. We're going to continue to be a great university for people to come and participate and learn and grow.
Ashley says she would just like to see people have more empathy.
Understand that we can have differences of opinion and still be able to feel empathy for each other.
In Orem, Avery Klenowski, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking to see what the act of one individual has done to not just the reputation of this school, but to our community to the political landscape and the discourse that takes place. My guess is the best we can do is learn a very, very difficult lesson. The sad part is that freedom of speech had a very high cost yesterday. We're going to stay on top of the story as you would expect us to do. We've got multiple eyes and ears on this story and will around the clock until we learn more. We're waiting again for a news conference, hopefully from law enforcement today, sometime tonight. But in the meantime, for the very latest on this tragic story of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, we would encourage you to go to our website if you're not there already, fox13now.com, and keep your eye on our Facebook page and on the Fox 13 News app. As we say goodbye for now, we're looking at the police officer standing watch over this crime scene here at Utah Valley University in Orem. I'm Bob Evans, live on the UVU campus. We will see you on TV tonight on Fox 13 News at 9.